Welcome back everyone, this is episode 22 of Kerbal Space Program First Contract, and as you can see our space plane is still happily orbiting Kerbin. Now we've launched our little satellite, there it is, just drifting off in the distance. We'll come back to that later and complete that contract. What we have to do now is land. So let's do that by first finding out exactly where we are on the planet's surface. Now we've got a little bit of debris there to give us a bit of a hint about where we want to come in. There we go. This is Kerbal Space Center right here. But we are currently on the opposite side of the planet. So let's just engage time warp and wait to come around to about here where we'll begin our deorbit burn. So here we come. We're represented by the little pod shape, there we go, and our little satellite is more or less on top of the same icon. So there we go, we're coming around. So let's drop out of warp and put ourselves in a maneuver node. Now the difficult part is knowing exactly where to come in. Now Kerbin is orbiting. Kerbin is rotating, and therefore will be going away from us as we deorbit, and of course there'll be some drag, so I'm estimating we need to be just a little bit into the ocean here so that as drag and the rotation brings us back, we'll come in around about here and have a short jaunt to the runway. So we have practically no time at all to manage this activity, so let us get turned around. A bit too far there. There we go. And now we just need to fire away. So there we go. Engine firing. There's our probe disappearing off in the distance. Like I say, we'll come back to that. And let's just watch our orbit come in. Now it doesn't have to be too accurate because, to be honest, I've only guesstimated the effect of drag and rotation, and as long as we come in anywhere here, we've got plenty enough jet power to coast or just to drift our way into KSC and make our last minute adjustments. So there we go, here's our orbit coming in. Can just about make out the rotation of Kerbin as well as the coastline disappears in this direction. So we're about halfway through our very estimated burn. Now worst case, if we overrun, we've got the island runway here, or we simply turn around. I've done that quite a few times while I've been practicing. Now we're still well above the atmosphere at the moment, so we don't need to worry too much about drag and air resistance at this point. Let's just keep chasing our node. Not that it makes a great deal of difference. All we want to do is keep burning. Well, to be honest, I guess we need to keep burning in the direction of retrograde. And we will simply keep burning. See how the estimated overshoot is reducing because of the rotation. So we can get rid of that now and just keep burning. Getting near the top of the atmosphere now, so in a few thousand meters we will enter into the upper atmosphere. We can see our probe disappearing off on its orbit as we sink down. So we're just getting to the top of the atmosphere now, and it looks like despite our best efforts, we are going to overshoot. So I think it's time we prepare for re-entry. So let's get the... so we've come in well over the top of the mountains. So let's shut down our rocket engine and prepare our jet engines. So I suspect we are going to have to turn around. Well, nothing's ever perfect. So we should be hitting the atmospheric effects soon. We'll just get our jet engines spooled up so they're ready to burn. And there we are. So yes, we well overshot. Still, it'll give us plenty of an opportunity to turn around and line up. We're not even going to make it to the island runway. Can overshoot that as well. Bill and Bob still think they're in control, which is good. There's that spare bit of debris that we were using. Test 4 contract. That was a while ago. Right. We are getting a few atmospheric effects now as we come hurtling through the lower atmosphere. You can just see the wind shock. But the speed is coming down nicely. So I think it's about time we arrest our descent and prepare to make the turn back to Kerbal Space Center. So we don't want to be sinking too fast at this point, but we can start turning back. So we are now fully in airplane mode, fully in control of our descent as we start turning back towards KSC. Speed is reducing just slightly, so we've got a good throttle there, I think. Let's just keep turning her around. Now I haven't bothered opening these additional air vents because I don't think we need them at this point. We've got plenty of air intake. 1.17 is plenty. Let's just keep turning around. You can just see the runway there, so we're going to have to turn more than 360 degrees. 360? Can't even do my maths. 180 degrees, because we're going to have to get all the way around and a bit more. So we're at 5,000 meters, which is not too bad for this distance. So let's start turning back to line up with the runway. There we go. Bill and Bob aren't looking quite as happy as they were. Oh dear. Let's not lose too much height at this point. Let's just see if we can get parallel to the runway. So that's sort of along here, using the remarkably symmetrical pattern of waves. Start turning back now. 3.5 kilometers up, and we can start lining up. Now the most difficult part is landing actually physically on the runway. The actual re-entry is, you know, well, if you overshoot, and you just turn around. But actually getting landed on the runway, that is the hard part. Either crash by hitting too hard, and if you're doing anything over 10 meters vertically, that's too hard. Or you bounce. Not good. So I think we're almost in line with the runway now. Just over a little bit more. Now, as people keep pointing out, the runway's quite long, so you don't need to hit it right at the start of the runway, or at the end, as we are in this case. Let's get our gear down so we're ready. We'll have plenty of jet fuel, that won't prove a problem. Speed is good. Let's just keep the nose up a bit. Don't want to lose too much height just yet, until we get over the beach. I think we can drop the throttle a little. Keep our nose up, we're well lined up. Nice and flat. The nose actually gives you those two air intakes, and the tail gives you a good way of lining this vehicle up. So we're still doing good. We're losing 5 meters a second, so that's good, that's good. Now the runway is at about 70 meters above the ground. Above sea level. Of course it's not above the ground. So we're still doing okay. Let's just drop down just a little bit more. Drifting a little bit off to the left. Coming down a little bit hard, but to bring the nose up a little. Down the throttle a little. Coming in nicely. And the last thing not to do is to turn on the runway. You'll just end up barreling. So we're coming in nicely. Drop the throttle. And on with the brakes. Come on, stop! Stop! Oh, look at that. We're actually going to stop A, on the runway, and B, right next to the spaceplane hangar. Well done, Bill. Well done, Bob. Excellent work. Now with that, that was quite stressful, really. But let's recover the vessel and see the summary of our mission. Not that we completed any contracts, but at least we got them back safely. So we recovered a vessel that was in Kerbin orbit, so yes, we have done a single stage to orbit and delivered a satellite. We got back no science. We got back our entire vehicle in one piece, no broken bits on the runway. Well done, Bill. Well done, Bob. And of course, we recovered our 2 crew members. Brilliant. So with that, I'm going to leave you in suspense. I'd like to thank you for watching and hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.